Day 2 of Sywell 2024 is go as the first of our P51s is rolling along the runway. The undercarriage of the P47 tucks away as the Bouchons taxi out in front of us. Stunning formation of the B-17 Sally B and the P-47, the Jug, the Thunderbolt. Today the B-17 being flown by So Sally B pulls up and away from the P47, changes a right-hand turn, ready to start her own display. This is B-17, the Flying Fortress. Sally B, who's now in her... P51 formation being led by Mark Levy. He's flying in Jersey Jerk, a Sywell resident. Actually a two-seater who can fly in this aircraft. I'll talk more about that later on. P17 coming in to touch down on the hard runway. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for Peter Kuipers and Darryl Tapin as they land beautiful B-17 Sally B. Airbus. I've just seen a Mustang coming into land there. We've got one Mustang landing. As you look out to the left, the Bouchons are coming back. Big wave to the Hurricane pilots as they taxi out, but in the Bouchons we have in the lead Spano Bouchon belonging to the Aircraft Restoration Company. Tracing John is Dave Phillipson in yellow. The yellow-nosed Bouchon, that comes from the Big Hill Heritage Hangar. Gentlemen are 351s out to your front left. A bit of dogfighting now as we start seeing the P-51s chasing the Bouchon. The P-51s by leading, followed by John Dodd and Escott. So the Hurricane's road which clears the runway for the Bouchon as the Mustangs come in from the left-hand side. Bouchon 1 has landed, here comes Dave to land Bouchon 2. I haven't flown one of these myself, but I'm told they're very tricky aircraft to land. They can be quite unforgiving in this landing phase. P-51 performing another 12-hour roll. It could actually climb to around 35,000 feet, but it took a long time to get there. Trevor said on the radio, they're tightening. So he's just easing back on the control column just to tighten the turn, a little bit more G as he presented the underside of the formation to us here in the crowd. Initially, the Hurricane was fitted with 8.303-inch Browning machine guns. Later variants could actually carry Cannon 4 ground attack rolls. One of the other differences with the radiator directly under the cockpit, it's noticeable how hot the cockpit gets compared to the Spitfire with the radiator offset under the wing. So with the Hurricane, the hot cockpit. Corsairs. Red Arrows for 6 years, being also Synchro Pair and Red 1. In the right-hand seat is Matt Tones, who is one of the managers at 2XL Aviation, and the flight engineer is Steve Armson. We do have flight engineers on these aircraft, 2 pilots and a flight engineer. So you can just sit now, big red-white aircraft to your right-hand side. This is the Boeing 727 from 2XL Aviation and Oil Spill Response Limited. Flying slowly in front of us to then putting some power on and climbing steeply away to our left. That was the
grass airstrip down just to the southwest of Paris, their equivalent of our old Warden Shuttleworth collection. And his grandfather, father and himself have all flown vintage aeroplanes. They specialise in a lot of First World War aeroplanes, but they've branched out into the Second World War stuff. And he's out in the lead of right at the moment as they make this pass. Inside the formation is helicopter flown by Eric Goujon. Again, the gentleman from France started his career as a Mirage pilot in the French Air Force. Obviously lots of military experience, gives you all that formation experience, and he's taken that into his civilian career, and he's a full-time pilot with the Red Bulls, and you'll see him a little bit later on flying in the same position, but this time following that lovely silver P-38 later on. see as they pass the reservoir, the wing is cranked down initially and then back up again. And the reason for that is that they had a very big engine on the front, but a very big engine requires a very big propeller. I think that one is about 12 feet in diameter. So quite cleverly, they're by cranking the wing down there and putting the landing gear on the front. So the aircraft was capable of well over 400 miles an hour, which made it the top predator in the Pacific theatre. But as I said, the aircraft was actually make the aircraft work. That's what they were doing. So they changed the geometry of the dampers on the undercarriage, and they actually took 3 feet off the wingtips as well, because the British carriers couldn't fit them. And a combination of fiddling with the gear and taking 3 feet off the wingtips made the aircraft didn't bounce anymore. So I looking at the four sails are broken up, and I'm going to sort themselves out and go into a landing. So of course there's telling the birds out there they are on the left-hand side shortly turning base to land. So that's over to our right. You can see those 3 torpedoes getting ready to set up the tunnel. Obviously not forgetting the Hellcat, which is the run and follow-up to the Wildcat. But the ultimate fighter coming in from the northeast, I've seen coming into that blue gap now, is this aircraft, which is my personal dream aeroplane. I'd love to fly one day if anybody's listening out. Flown by Pete Kinsey, who's one of our most experienced warbird pilots. He's got thousands of
in some of those maneuvers. Look, she's still managing to wave her arms as she's being faced by about 120-mile-an-hour airflow and also being put under those G-forces as she's strapped to the top of this vintage biplane. She comes in for this pass, not only is she waving her arms, she may well have her leg extended in front, keeping it there as she's facing all of this. She's facing all that negative G as she pushes away. She's still strapped to the top of the airplane, waving her arms. Just imagine the amount of force she's facing with that 120-mile-an-hour plus airflow. Straight into her body, lots of flies no doubt hitting her face. I know she's wearing goggles, but even so, that must hurt a bit when a fly comes and hits you at 120 miles an hour. I was actually just thinking, if you ever really want to put your life in speed inside a tumble dryer, I just step you off down the other and get back down again. Big wave now is down the other, unstrapped from the harness, she's waving at us. She's now standing on the top of the wing. You can see her left leg is at the trailing edge, her right leg is at the leading edge of that top wing, but she's moving again. So as Emiliano is flying the aircraft around, Danielle is actually positioning herself around the aircraft's top wing. Looks like she's now standing on top of the front cockpit of the aircraft. Big wave to Paul Bonhomme as he taxis out in the Fury in front of us. So to your right, here comes the 46 Aviation Super Steerman. And where is Danielle now? Nice slow pass for us in from the right, a little bit of puffing smoke. She's now stood on the front cockpit, holding her leg. Now I'm pretty sure that can't be very easy.
I don't hear you volunteering, Mike. This aeroplane actually is a non-navalised Sea Fury. It was actually built for the Iraqi Air Force, was delivered to them in the late 40s. But it's not a particularly nice colour scheme if you're a British aviation enthusiast, so the owner decided he wanted something a bit more British and appropriate. And as you see those yellow undersides, they are the classic of the World War II as a prototype. It's not appropriate to this aeroplane, so this was designed for, or built for the Iraqi Air Force, so it's just more appropriate for our airshow visitors. Paul demonstrating in a Derry turn there how fabulous the ailerons on this aircraft are. Most aircraft have conventional ailerons where your control stick is connected by a system of pulleys and cables to the actual ailerons themselves. But it means when the aircraft is flying extremely fast, you've got to have a fair set of muscles because you're pushing those controls against the airflow. And at 400 miles an hour, it can almost feel like it's stuck in concrete. showing those beautifully precise ailerons. In this aeroplane, the ailerons are actually connected to the trim tabs, which are small surfaces on the back end of the ailerons. And it's actually moving the control stick, moves the tabs, and the tabs themselves move the ailerons. Fairly new for the end of the Second World War period, but have been used, they were used on some of the early jets as well. But just means that the controls are actually just as effective at 400 miles an hour as they were at 200 miles an hour, without having to have Arnold Schwarzenegger's biceps to operate them. Chief pilot of the fighter collection, who gave him a pilot's notes for a P-40 and said, "Would you like to fly our aircraft?" And he's been flying them now for nearly 30 years. Paul reefing it round now in a very tight high G turn, rolling out on the finals. Let's see what's next. Possibly a roll maybe, or just a flyby. Let's have a look. Looks like a wave goodbye. Superb display ball. To go vertically nose up. Another performance in this aircraft, but outside loop.
Really tight outside loop of this aeroplane. This year, that wasn't in her routine. And again, more of an upside down. This is into a rolling circle, so she's performing 270 degrees of turn, but rolling as she does so. Very difficult to get this manoeuvre right and keep the aircraft in exactly the position she wants. So that's a rolling circle. Now another push up around about -6G into a half outside loop, and then into a lovely flick roll at the top of that.
What do you have for breakfast? Weetabix. Sorry, no advertising.
She's going to do some stationary flight shortly, where she's just going to try and hover the aeroplane in front of us. There we go, so she's slowing right down now. As stationary as she can, trying to keep the aircraft almost in the same point in the sky. So she's using the engine to just hover in almost no forward flight whatsoever, just to show the power of that engine-propeller combination. You mentioned Melanie's competition aerobatic. She is indeed. She's got 6 French titles to her name and 1 UK title. Very nice vertical flick roll at the top. Are we over the top? What's she going to do now? This is all part of her freestyle routine. She gave me the routine and said at the end I'll just see what I can do and what energy I've got. So this is her freestyle routine. So as well as 6-time French national champion, Melanie's actually the only female to have taken part in what was the Red Bull Air Race, where she competed in the Challenging Cup. She actually won the Indianapolis race in 2017.
It amazes me, these aerobatic pilots, their feel, their finesse. They can almost feel whether the airflow over the wings is attached or detached and put it back on again absolutely at the end. And that only comes from literally hours and hours and hours of practice. So the airplane almost becomes part of your body. That's what she's doing now.
Tight RG
So it is a passenger aircraft, but you can see it's being flown in a very spirited manner by Captain John Corley. John started his career as a young pilot with an outfit called Air Atlantique down at Coventry, and he's probably one of the most experienced multi-engine pilots of aeroplanes of this vintage in this country. So So those camera doors were secreted under the floorboards, and they had a couple of cameras in the leading edge of the wing. Now this aircraft was used in this, so here comes a photo opportunity, belly up to the crowd. Lovely sound. So the aircraft was exported to America, and then a collector who owns a lot of the airplanes here, he decided he wanted this aircraft. It was re-imported about 2 years ago in its form as an American airplane had been somewhat in 1938, flying beautifully towards the carriage, so that nose landing light on, putting up to a lovely big wing over, and then see the registration on the bottom, Golf Alpha Foxtrot Tango Lima. That is the actual aircraft which took those pictures in 1938, returned, I say, almost as close as we could to its 1938 status. I have to add that inside the cabin it's rather more luxurious than it was in 1938. Graham, the owner, wanted this aircraft. And goodbye, John. So like pretty much all of the aircraft here today, so Steve and Phil O'Dell were the two test pilots for the Rolls-Royce experimental electric aircraft last year, when they gained all these world records as part of Rolls-Royce's experimentation with electric. But this one is definitely fueled by dead dinosaurs.
We're just hanging in the sky around 2,500 feet into a flat sky. As he climbs. Designed in Lincolnshire, but the outfit, Gain Composites, has since moved to the USA, and they are actually very busy on the production line. They're producing a high number of these aircraft every month, and it's very popular because of that touring capability, but also these high performance aerobatics it can perform.
I guess it makes it easier to justify to your partner that it's a travelling aeroplane, darling, it's an aeroplane for going places.
Put an overnight bag on the back shelf and fly for over 1,000 miles.
That's what I call a practical aeroplane. One that does 400 degrees a second roll rate is also perfect.
Going to do a tail slide now, I think. Yeah, getting to the top, back through his own smoke. Nose tucks under as the weight of that engine pulls the aircraft down.
The gears are a lot quieter with that four-blade propeller. You can see the flight tunnel aircraft very shortly. That's the B-38, followed by the B-51. There's Eric Goujon in the F4 Corsair. As you see, the B-25 is going to lead the formation, so the aircraft will take off and start cutting the corner. Both mechanics and just helpers who keep these aircraft in such stunning condition. Running around as our diamond formation, I think at this point the B-25 is going to pull up and do its solo display, and the other aircraft will then climb to height for what is a very spectacular aerobatic display to come. So Frederick pulling the door, instead of bombs coming out, they've got an enormous great maintenance unit which is full of oil, smoke, tools, lots of Red Bull products incidentally, other drinks are available, but full of all that kit, because obviously the P-38 and the P-51 can't carry it. So this will be the last pass of the B-25. Beautiful aeroplane, the sun glinting on that fantastic, highly polished skin. And looks like a bomb door can pass. Fabulous display, Frederick, wonderful. So he'll be going off to hold. If you turn your attention to the right, gentlemen and ladies, or ladies and gentlemen, or try to be politically correct, from the right.